And serving these different audiences. On one side, you're building for the customer. On the other side, you're building to enable users on the street, teams on the street. How does that paradigm? What is the interplay like? Do you think of that as completely a separate sort of this thing? Where do the lines cross?
See, for us, all of these people are our users, right? So, and it's very clear that we have to optimize for user experience. We have to display that user empathy. We have to think from their perspective and make sure the product is adding value to their lives. So, how we manage the diversity in all of this is by typically having separate teams that look at this, right? Of course, at certain levels, you have to do context switching. You don't have that freedom anymore to only focus on one thing.
Yeah.
But we understand that managing all of these different diverse stakeholders for one person is likely to be complex. So we try to keep some of the teams segmented. It also keeps them like very focused on the problem at hand.
What is the one learning that you would want to, what is the nugget of wisdom that you would like to share with product managers who are in the earlier stages building internal tooling for internal ops teams where ops plays a critical role in the business?
Building product for ops team is a high risk, high reward proposition. I'll explain why I say that. Because I have noticed, like I've also built some products for external users. I have noticed that when you're building internal products, your access to the users is unprecedented, right? You have just you can walk there anytime, you can get their feedback on something. It comes with their demands being more exacting, right? They would very clearly want know what they want, or they will specify it, and you have to build it according to what they want, right? And if you don't do a good job, it could lead to a very vicious circle, right? Where product believes that I built something that the tech should be that ops should be using. Ops believes that hey, these guys don't build anything which is worthwhile, and then that becomes like a thing which is very hard to undo. So I think my advice would be that we have to work very closely with the folks. We have great user access, right? So we need to capitalize on that. We don't need to transform the way they do things immediately, right? No one likes, because people are busy, right? If I am an ops manager, I have to take care of my daily routine, right? And daily routine will have 100 fires that will come up. All of these will be small in nature, but they require mind share, right? So if you want to give me something transformative, my first reaction would be, hey, this is just too much for me to take, right? Why do I need to do this? You have to work from a very evolutionary perspective. You need to understand the revolution that you want to bring. It's not going to happen immediately. It has to happen step by step. So the first thing that you do is you try to replicate what they currently have. They might have a Excel dashboard that they use, right? Or something that they're using to track. You need to be able to replicate that, give them something more real time, slightly better, before doing, okay, if I were in their place, this is what I would do, right? Because you're not in their place right now. You don't understand the small fires. You don't understand all the things that they're fighting. First, you turn that vicious circle into a virtuous one, right? And then I think together the team can do wonders.
Wow, that's great advice. That's awesome advice, and it rings so true from everything that I've seen in operations, on the product side. To not expect a transformation and not to really empathize with the user and to understand their worldview, a day in their life, the kind of challenges they face, and then slowly start iteratively working towards that transformation that you eventually foresee or that you would like to.
Right. So I'll give you a very recent example, right? So on one of our operating arms, we had something called an action file on a daily basis that we were looking at automating. So one of the things that we had done, so while the action file is very useful for the ops team, if a central person were to look at it, they would look at not that individual action file. They'd look at like various cuts of it and like what's happening and try to get a scorecard out of it, right?
Yeah.
You would approach that problem as a core product person and say, hey, like, I don't care about actions. I want to do that dashboard so that people can drill down and see what to do. But that's not what the ground is used to, right? They're used to having like these rows that they action upon individually. Maybe once or twice a day they look at the scorecard. But if you can't make the scorecard front and center. So that's how we approached it. We said we will keep the look and feel of all of this nearly precisely what it is.
Yeah.
And gradually we will start making some changes. And that's like, it's only a week or two old, but we've seen some really good feedback coming, right? And that really helps get both teams confidence in each other, right? Because as a product team also, it can be very frustrating. See, I built something very useful, but the ops are not using it. They still go back to the Excel that they have.
Yeah.
Right. So you need to acknowledge that all the grandiose dreams that you might have, they start with step one. You don't put that entire thing on day zero.